Welcome to a journey far from the noise of today. Tonight, you're not just watching a documentary, you're stepping into the calm, ancient world of the Stone Age, where time moved slower and silence was part of life. This video is designed to help you relax, unwind, and sleep. Let the soft narration, gentle imagery, and steady rhythm guide your breath and quiet your thoughts. So, take a deep breath, settle into your favorite place, and let your mind drift back to a time before cities, before clocks, to a world shaped by fire, stone, and stars. You're safe here. You're exactly where you need to be. Let's begin. Long before cities rose and machines hummed, the earth whispered softly under a different rhythm. It was the Stone Age, a vast chapter in human history that unfolded slowly, quietly, under the open skies and by the flickering warmth of fire. This era, stretching back over 2.5 million years, marks the beginning of humanity's story. The world then was untouched, raw, and wild. There were no towering buildings, no glowing screens, only the gentle rustling of wind through tall grasses, the distant call of birds, and the rhythmic sound of rivers shaping valleys over millennia. Life moved slowly, in harmony with the seasons and the sun. In this ancient time, early humans lived not in haste, but in tune with the land. Their tools were simple, stones shaped by hand, patiently chipped into sharp edges. With these humble instruments, they carved out a life amidst the vast landscapes, coexisting with mammoths, saber-toothed cats, and giant ground sloths. Nights were long, but stars filled the sky like silent storytellers. Around glowing fires, families gathered. The crackle of burning wood, the warmth on their faces, and the gentle murmur of stories passed down in hushed voices, all painted a picture of a world both harsh and deeply connected. As we begin this journey through the Stone Age, allow yourself to slow down. Let the ancient winds carry your thoughts far away from the noise of the present. Breathe in the stillness of a world where time moved differently, a world where life was quieter, but no less profound. Close your eyes if you wish, and listen. The past is calling. In the earliest days of the Stone Age, shelter was not a structure of luxury or decoration. It was survival, crafted not with plans on paper, but with instinct, wisdom, and patience drawn from the land itself. Early humans found protection wherever nature offered it. Caves, with their cool darkness and protective stone walls, became natural sanctuaries. Within these ancient hollows, flickers of firelight danced across uneven walls, casting shadows that must have felt like spirits from beyond. These caves became more than shelter. They were home. In regions without caves, our ancestors shaped simple dwellings from branches, leaves, and animal hides. These huts stood low and round, designed to resist the wind and keep warmth close. They were often clustered together, forming tiny camps where people could feel less alone in the great silence of the world. Life moved with the elements. When the rains came, the people moved. When animals migrated, they followed. These early nomads carried only what they needed, their homes temporary but purposeful. There was a quiet elegance in this life. No clutter, no distraction, only the essentials: warmth, safety, community. Inside these shelters, time was measured by the rhythm of nature, the crackle of fire, the breathing of sleeping kin, the distant howls of wolves beyond the perimeter. It was a life lit by flame and shadow, full of patience, full of presence. As you rest now, imagine lying on a bed of furs, the scent of wood smoke in the air, the soft murmur of wind outside your shelter. The world is still, and you are safe beneath the ancient sky. The night is long, but peaceful. Let it carry you.
In the quiet hush of the Stone Age, before words were carved into stone or stories inked on paper, there were tools, simple, rough, and full of meaning. They were more than objects. They were extensions of the hand, answers to the silence of nature, and whispers of innovation. The first tools were stones, chosen not for beauty, but for their sharpness, their weight, their shape. Flint, brittle yet sharp, became a favorite. With steady hands and careful strikes, early humans shaped rocks into blades, scrapers, and spear points. Each chip, each flake that fell, was a step toward survival. With these tools, they skinned animals, cut meat, carved wood, and broke bones for marrow. Fire-hardened sticks became spears. Over time, the tools grew more refined, more specialized, each one telling a story of growing knowledge, growing need. There was no rush in this work. It took time, hours, days even, to shape a single tool. Yet there was patience in the process and purpose in every motion. A kind of meditation beneath the open sky, by the river's edge, or deep within a cave. Sometimes tools were passed down, father to son, mother to daughter. They bore the marks of their makers, worn smooth from years of use. In their simplicity, they carried wisdom. Tonight, imagine holding a tool of stone in your hand, cool, solid, shaped by someone thousands of years before you. Feel its quiet purpose, its connection to earth, to survival, to time itself. In a world without machines, this was the beginning of technology, and it all started with a stone. Breathe in the stillness. Let the weight of ancient hands guide you to sleep.
Before the written word, before even speech was fully formed, there was silence. And in that silence, a kind of language. The Stone Age was a time when communication was simple, raw, and deeply human. Early people spoke not just with voices, but with their eyes, their hands, their movements. A glance could mean danger. A gesture could mean food. The way one stood, the way one moved, these were sentences carved not in sound, but in presence. Grunts, hums, and rhythmic sounds became the seeds of spoken language. Over generations, these grew into words, soft, simple sounds that held meaning: fire, water, hunt, home. The first voices echoing in caves, whispering across wide grasslands. Yet even without complex language, connection was strong. People listened, not just to each other, but to the world, to the rustle of leaves that warned of prey, to the call of birds. to the changing mood of wind and sky. Every sound had purpose. In the quiet moments, there was music too. Hollow bones became flutes. Stones tapped rhythmically, created beats. Around fires, there may have been humming, soft, low, hypnotic, offering comfort in the dark. Communication was survival, but it was also belonging. Through shared sounds, signs, and songs, small communities became something greater than the sum of their parts. Now, as you breathe in the stillness of your own space, imagine a night without noise. No engines, no screens, just the crackle of a distant fire, the hush of wind, and the soft murmur of voices learning to shape meaning. Let this ancient quiet wrap around you like a warm blanket. Let the language of silence speak to your heart. You don't need words to rest, just stillness.
In the vast stillness of the Stone Age world, survival was a daily rhythm, woven into the land, the weather, and the movement of animals. Food was not found in markets or stored in jars. It was tracked, pursued, and honored. The hunt was life. At dawn, hunters rose quietly. The mist hung low over the grasses. Footsteps were soft, breaths steady. With stone-tipped spears and sharpened tools, they followed tracks through forest and field, reading the earth like a sacred scroll. They moved as one, alert, focused, patient. Every broken twig, every faint imprint in the soil told a story. The prey might be near, deer grazing in the shadows, boar hiding in the brush, or great mammoths lumbering across the plains. The hunt was never careless. It required skill, courage, and deep respect. These creatures shared the world, and taking one meant giving thanks. Nothing was wasted: meat for food, bones for tools, hides for warmth. But not every hunt ended in success. Sometimes the animals slipped away into the trees, and the hunters returned hungry but wiser. There was no anger, only understanding. Nature gave on her own terms. Around fires, the stories of the hunt were told in quiet voices. Hands traced the path of a fleeing stag in the dirt. Children listened, learning not just how to chase, but how to wait, how to respect the balance. Tonight, as you lie still, imagine walking through tall grass at sunrise. Feel the calm before the chase, the quiet excitement in your chest, the ancient bond between human and beast. There is no rush, only rhythm, only breath. Let the memory of the hunt guide you gently into rest. While some walked the plains in search of prey, others stayed closer to the hearth, moving slowly through forest paths and riversides, gathering what the earth offered with quiet hands and watchful eyes. The gatherers were the steady rhythm of the Stone Age. Their work was soft and slow, but essential. With woven baskets and sharp eyes, they knew where to find edible roots, healing herbs, wild berries, and nuts hidden beneath leaves or high in the branches. They knew the difference between what nourished
and what harmed. Seasons taught them when to pick and when to wait. In spring, fresh greens. In summer, ripe fruits. In autumn, the last offerings before the cold. Each plant was a teacher, each harvest a gift. Children followed their mothers and grandmothers, learning by doing, feeling the rough texture of bark, tasting the bitterness of a leaf, recognizing the song of a bird that signaled fruit nearby. There was wisdom in the wild, and it was passed down gently, like stories told by the wind. Sometimes the gatherers sang as they worked, low, wordless songs that echoed softly through the trees. The forest listened. The world, even in its vastness, felt close. At night, the baskets returned full. Around the fire, food was shared. Mushrooms roasted, roots boiled, herbs dried carefully for harder days. There was a sense of quiet pride, of connection, of care. Now, as you prepare to sleep, imagine yourself in a sun-dappled forest, the air rich with the scent of soil and leaves. Feel the earth under your feet, cool and steady. You are safe. The day is done. The trees stand watch. The stars are rising, and all is well. In the quiet folds of the Stone Age world, not all creatures were feared. Some, once wild, came closer, and in time a bond formed, silent, patient, and profound. This is the story of the first dogs. Wolves had long roamed the same lands as humans, fierce, clever, sharp-eyed. But perhaps one night a curious wolf lingered near a human fire. Drawn by warmth or the scent of meat, it stayed just beyond the light. It did not attack, nor was it chased away. And so something ancient began. Over many moons, certain wolves came closer. The humans left scraps. The wolves offered their presence, their ears alert, their eyes watching the darkness. One protected the other. Fear turned into trust. These wolves became companions, not through force, but choice. Slowly, they changed. Their bodies softened. Their eyes grew kinder. Their loyalty deepened. They no longer hunted humans, they hunted with them. Around the fire they curled beside sleeping children. On the hunt, they ran alongside men with spears. At night, their howls warned of danger in the distance. These were not yet the dogs we know today, but their journey had begun, woven deeply into ours. They were not tools or pets. They were partners, guardians, friends. Imagine now the soft sound of padded feet walking beside you, the gentle warmth of fur against your side, the shared stillness between two beings, different but connected. In the dark forests of the past, this companionship was a quiet miracle, one that endures to this day. Let that bond soothe you now. You are not alone. The night is safe, and the fire still burns.
In the vast open lands of the Stone Age, children grew not in walls, but in the wide arms of nature. Their playground was the earth itself, meadows, rivers, stones, and trees. Their laughter echoed under open skies, carried gently on the wind. There were no toys carved from plastic, no glowing screens to hold their gaze. Instead, they played with sticks and stones, bones and feathers. Each object, though simple, became something magical. A sword, a flute, a treasure. Learning was not something done in silence or with books. It came from watching, mimicking, and exploring. A child learned to track animals by following a parent's footsteps. They learned to weave by handling reeds beside their grandmother. They knew which berries to pick by taste and tradition. They listened to stories told by the fire, of ancestors, of spirits, of the great animals of the land. Their dreams were filled with mystery and wonder. Their days were filled with movement, curiosity, and the soft shaping of the future. There was hardship, too. The world could be harsh. But within small tribes, children were protected. Every elder was a teacher, every adult a guardian. The bond between all was tight, woven with care and quiet love. And when the sun sank low, children slept close to the fire, beneath hides and furs, their breath slow and steady. Dreams would come, of animals with glowing eyes, of soaring birds, of far-off stars speaking in silence. Tonight, close your eyes like one of them. Imagine lying on soft grass, the scent of smoke and wildflowers in the air, your family near, the stars above. You are held by the earth, safe, still. Long before ink, before canvas or paper, the first artists made their mark with earth and fire. Deep inside cool, echoing caves, humans painted their stories, not with words, but with images that would whisper across time. Using crushed minerals, charcoal, and ochre, they created colors from the land itself, reds from iron-rich soil, blacks from ash, yellows from clay. Their brushes were fingers, sticks, or hollow bones that blew pigment like breath onto the wall. They painted animals, graceful deer, galloping horses, bison with broad backs and watchful eyes. Some were outlined in soft curves, others alive with motion. The artists often followed the shape of the stone, letting the wall's curves bring the animals to life. Each painting was more than decoration. It was memory, spirit, dream. Some believe these artworks were part of rituals, perhaps to honor the hunt, to speak to the world of spirits, or to teach the young. Whatever the reason, the act was sacred, quiet, intentional. In the glow of firelight, the images would seem to move as if the animals danced on the walls. The cave became more than shelter. It became a temple of imagination, a place where human thought first took form. These cave paintings still exist today, preserved in the dark and silence. They are among the oldest stories we have, drawn not in words, but in feeling. Tonight, imagine sitting in a cool, ancient cave, the scent of smoke in the air, a soft glow on the stone. Around you, silent herds of painted creatures watch from the walls. You feel their presence, old and kind. This is where art began, with a whisper, not a shout. Let the stillness of the cave carry you to sleep. Long before music was written, it was felt in the chest, in the soil, in the pulse of footsteps over earth. The Stone Age had its own rhythms, born of wood, bone, and breath. In those quiet days, sound was rare and sacred. A simple drum made from stretched hide, a hollow reed turned into a flute, stones struck gently together, producing soft, melodic clicks.
These were the earliest instruments, tools not for survival, but for the soul. In the evenings, as the last light faded and the fires warmed the camp, humans made music. Not grand, not loud, just soft patterns, heartbeat rhythms, and wind-like tones. Humming, clapping, feet gently tapping against the earth. It wasn't performance, it was presence, connection. Sound became a bridge between people, between moments, between the seen and the unseen. Songs may have been prayers, or calls to ancestors, or lullabies to quiet a child under a blanket of furs. There was music even in the silence, the crackle of firewood, the distant hoot of an owl, the rustle of a sleeping animal. Nature provided the backdrop, the people added the rest. Over time, these simple sounds became patterns, and patterns became memory. A melody hummed under the stars might be remembered for generations, passed down not with words, but with breath. Tonight, imagine yourself wrapped in a soft pelt, lying close to a glowing fire. A gentle hum rises nearby, slow, deep, calming. A wooden flute answers, its voice thin and sweet. Around you, the darkness listens, peaceful and still. Let that rhythm carry you. No hurry, no noise, just the slow, timeless song of the earth. Sleep comes gently when the world is quiet.
Even in the earliest days, humans sensed that death was not an end, but a passage. In the Stone Age, when someone passed, they were not left to fade into the forest. They were remembered, returned to the earth with care and quiet reverence. Burials were simple but meaningful. The dead were laid gently into the ground, often curled in a fetal position, as if sleeping or ready to be born again. Around them, the living placed small offerings, a tool, a shell, a stone pendant. These were not grand treasures, but symbols of love, of memory, of respect. Some graves were marked with stones, others were hidden beneath layers of earth and time, but all were part of a quiet ritual, the first signs that humans carried not just knowledge, but belief. Were they honoring spirits? Were they speaking to gods? Or were they simply showing kindness, even in grief? We may never know, but the tenderness in these burials speaks across time. Sometimes red ochre was sprinkled over the body, painting it with the color of blood, of life. It was as if they were saying, though the body rests, the spirit still walks. In dreams, in wind, in firelight. Communities mourned in silence, or with soft songs, or with shared stories passed on in the smoke of the fire. As you lie still tonight, think of those ancient sleepers, wrapped in earth, held by stone, carried gently into history. Their bones may be silent now, but they once walked, laughed, and dreamed beneath the same sky you do. And like them, you are part of a greater story. Close your eyes. The earth holds you too. The Stone Age world did not follow clocks or calendars. Time moved with the sky, with the blooming of flowers, the flight of birds, and the changing winds. Every season brought new challenges, new gifts, and for early humans, survival meant learning nature's rhythm by heart. Spring was a time of new life. Rivers swelled with melting snow. Green shoots burst from the earth. Herds returned from their winter paths, and hunters followed in quiet excitement. Food became more plentiful. Spirits rose. The cold was behind them. Summer was golden and full. Days stretched long beneath the sun. Fruits ripened. Game fattened on the rich land. People moved less, settled more. Fires were smaller, shadows cooler. Life softened, just for a while. Then came autumn, a season of preparation. Roots were gathered, meat was dried, furs were repaired. The air grew sharp. Leaves fell in slow spirals, and animals began to vanish into distant forests. They knew winter was near. Winter was silence, stillness, survival. The world turned white and hard. Fires burned longer. Families drew close. Food was rationed. Stories grew longer in the dark. Outside, the wind whispered across frozen ground, but inside there was warmth and the deep strength of togetherness. The Stone Age people did not fight the seasons, they moved with them. They waited, watched, and listened. In doing so, they learned the language of the earth. Now, as your breath slows, imagine yourself under a blanket of furs. Outside, snow drifts gently across the land. But here, inside your shelter, the fire is warm. The season has turned, but you are safe. Sleep, like winter, is a gentle pause. Let it carry you softly. At first, humans followed the herds and the rivers. They moved with the seasons, carrying little, leading only footprints behind. But in time, they began to stay, longer in one place, and so the first true homes were born. These homes were not built with bricks or glass. They rose from the earth itself, shaped with mud, wood, bone, and hides. A ring of stones formed a hearth. Branches became beams. Animal skins stretched across frames to hold back the wind. And within those shelters, life found new rhythm. Some homes were round like nests. Others dug slightly into the ground to hold warmth through cold nights. In warmer lands, they were open to the air, shaded by trees. Each shelter, no matter how simple, was a space of belonging. Inside, the air was rich with the scent of smoke and drying herbs. Tools hung neatly along walls. Furs were spread across the floor. Near the fire, baskets held nuts, dried fruits, and carefully gathered seeds. It was more than shelter. It was memory, comfort, identity. Outside, the world remained wild. But inside, there was order, warmth, and rest. Children played, elders told stories, families ate together and dreamed together. The first concept of home was forming, not as a place, but a feeling. Even now, in our modern walls and cities, that ancient longing remains, a space to return to, a fire to sit beside, a place to be still. As you lie down tonight, picture yourself in one of these homes, a round earthen hut with the soft crackle of fire, the wind whispering gently outside, and sleep curling around you like a fur blanket. This is your place. This is home. In the Stone Age, rivers were not just streams of water. They were lifelines. Flowing through forests, across plains, and into distant seas, they guided the footsteps of early humans like silent, shimmering trails. People followed rivers because water meant life. It quenched thirst, nourished plants, attracted animals. Along the banks, reeds grew tall, berries ripened in the sun, and fish glided beneath the surface, their silver bodies flashing like sparks. But rivers also showed the way. They wound through unknown lands, opening paths to new hunting grounds, safer shelters, better weather. Early humans were wanderers, curious, observant, slow-moving but steady. With each season, they learned the land a little more, remembered the bend of a river, the shelter of a cliff, the quiet place where deer gathered at dawn. Sometimes they built simple rafts from logs and vines, letting the river carry them gently downstream. These floating journeys were quiet, thoughtful. The water sang beneath them, and birds called from high branches. It was not about speed. It was about direction. Wherever they went, they carried their world on their backs. Tools, fire starters, food, stories, and songs. They were never lost. The earth spoke through wind and water, and they listened. At night, by the riverbank, they built small fires and watched the stars reflected in the gentle current. The flow of water was a lullaby, soft and unending. Now imagine yourself lying by such a river. The fire crackles beside you. The current whispers nearby. The stars blink quietly above. You're traveling, but you are safe. The water will guide you. Let it carry your thoughts into sleep.
Each step taken by Stone Age humans shaped the world around them, even if they did not know it. With bare feet or simple leather wraps, they moved across forests, plains, mountains, and deserts, quiet wanderers on an endless journey. Their footprints have long vanished from the earth, washed away by rain or buried beneath centuries. But if you listen closely, you can still hear them, in the soft whisper of leaves underfoot, in the hush of wind through tall grass, in the echo of your own footsteps on a quiet path. They walked not to conquer, but to discover, to follow herds, to find shelter, to seek fresh water or the warmth of the sun. Some traveled for days, others for seasons. Movement was life, and life was movement. Children walked beside their parents, learning the shape of the land. Elders moved more slowly, but with wisdom. The youngest carried little, the oldest carried memory. The tribe moved together as one long breath stretching across the land. They followed the stars at night, the rivers by day, and the calls of animals that knew the land better than any map ever could. Hills were not obstacles, but vantage points. Valleys were places to rest. They did not leave behind roads or signs, only stories passed through generations. A bend in a river, a tree that split like a fork, a rock shaped like a bear. These were their guideposts. Tonight, as you rest, imagine yourself walking softly across an ancient plain. The ground is cool beneath your feet. The sky is wide above. Every step is slow, gentle, unhurried.
Let your thoughts wander like they did. Let your breathing fall into step. The journey is quiet now. Let it lead you into sleep. Each step taken by Stone Age humans shaped the world around them, even if they did not know it. With bare feet or simple leather wraps, they moved across forests, plains, mountains, and deserts, quiet wanderers on an endless journey. Their footprints have long vanished from the earth, washed away by rain or buried beneath centuries. But if you listen closely, you can still hear them, in the soft whisper of leaves underfoot, in the hush of wind through tall grass, in the echo of your own footsteps on a quiet path. They walked not to conquer, but to discover, to follow herds, to find shelter, to seek fresh water or the warmth of the sun. Some traveled for days, others for seasons. Movement was life, and life was movement. Children walked beside their parents, learning the shape of the land. Elders moved more slowly, but with wisdom. The youngest carried little, the oldest carried memory. The tribe moved together, as one long breath stretching across the land. They followed the stars at night, the rivers by day, and the calls of animals that knew the land better than any map ever could. Hills were not obstacles, but vantage points. Valleys were places to rest. They did not leave behind roads or signs, only stories passed through generations. A bend in a river, a tree that split like a fork, a rock shaped like a bear. These were their guideposts. Tonight, as you rest, imagine yourself walking softly across an ancient plain. The ground is cool beneath your feet. The sky is wide above. Every step is slow, gentle, unhurried. Let your thoughts wander like they did. Let your breathing fall into step. The journey is quiet now. Let it lead you into sleep. There was something hypnotic in the way fire moved, always changing, yet never straying. Its crackles and pops filled the silence with soft rhythm. Its glow painted the faces of those who watched it, turning stone dwellings into warm sanctuaries. Imagine sitting now by such a fire. Feel its warmth on your skin. Hear the slow hiss of damp wood, the gentle sigh of wind beyond the flames. In this light, the world is calm. Time slows. Worries fade. Tonight, as the world sleeps around you, think of fire not as danger, but as comfort. A gentle, glowing friend from a long ago. And let its warmth carry you deeper into rest.
In the Stone Age, food was not just something to be eaten. It was earned, respected, and shared. Every bite was the result of patience, knowledge, and deep connection to the land. There were no markets or farms. The wild itself was the pantry. Berries glistening under morning dew, roots pulled from dark soil, honey carefully stolen from a tree hollow, sweet and golden, eggs found nestled in tall grass, mushrooms growing in secret, shaded places. Cooking was simple. A flat stone warmed over fire, meat roasted on a stick, turning slowly as the flames whispered below. Fish laid on hot coals until their skin crackled and crisped. Soups made in carved stone pots, flavored with wild herbs and the faint scent of smoke. Meals were often quiet affairs, not rushed, not loud. People sat close, hands reaching in,
Food passed without words, a piece of meat offered to a child, a sip of broth shared with an elder. It wasn't about abundance, it was about care. Flavors were earthy, fresh, sometimes bitter, sometimes sweet. There was no salt, no sugar, just the taste of the land itself, honest and deep. After eating, there was gratitude. Not spoken, perhaps, but felt. For the animal, for the plant, for the rain that fed the soil, for the fire that made it warm. As you lie down now, imagine a meal beside a glowing fire. The night cool on your skin, a piece of warm roasted root in your hand, the scent of herbs on the air, the sound of chewing and breathing, soft and steady. There is no hunger here, only warmth, only peace. Let it settle in your chest and rest.
Among the most sacred tasks in the Stone Age was the tending of fire. It was not taken for granted. It was watched, fed, protected, like a living spirit at the heart of every shelter and camp. Fire was difficult to create. Sparks were coaxed from stone or wood with patience and skill. So once lit, it was treasured. A single ember could mean the difference between warmth and cold, life and danger, light and darkness. Each tribe had someone, sometimes a woman, sometimes an elder, who watched the flames. Through wind, through rain, even in the darkest night, the fire was kept alive. Ash was banked carefully to preserve its heat. A thin thread of smoke marked its breath, always rising. Children learned early to respect the flame, to sit near but not too close, to feed it slowly, to understand its hunger. Fire was both friend and teacher. It warmed their food, their hands, their hearts, but it also reminded them, gently, silently, of the line between creation and destruction. At night, when the wind howled outside and shadows stretched long across the earth, fire gave comfort. Its glow painted the walls. Its scent filled the air. Its voice crackled softly, steady as a heartbeat. People gathered close, not just for warmth, but for peace. Around the flame, they told stories, healed wounds, rested their tired bodies. It was a center of calm in a wild and changing world. Now, imagine sitting near that fire, your eyes half closed, your body relaxed. The flame flickers, steady and kind. You are safe here, wrapped in fur and silence. Let the warmth seep into you. Let the light settle your thoughts. Sleep beside the oldest friend of humankind. In a world without pharmacies or hospitals, early humans turned to the earth for healing. The Stone Age healer was not a scientist, but a listener, one who learned from plants, from animals, and from the quiet wisdom of time. These ancient caregivers knew the leaves that soothed wounds, the roots that calmed pain, the bark that cooled fevers. They carried this knowledge not in books, but in memory, passed from voice to voice, generation to generation. They moved through forests with gentle steps, collecting herbs and flowers,
stones and moss. Every plant had a purpose. Every scent, every color, every taste held meaning. Healing was not quick, but patient. It was not a fight, but a conversation with the body, with nature, with spirit. Sometimes they whispered soft chants while applying poultices. Sometimes they painted symbols on the skin with red clay or ash. They believed that healing came not just from the body, but from within, from dreams, from emotions, from balance. Animals taught them too. They watched birds eat certain berries when ill. They saw wounded wolves roll in particular leaves. Nature was a teacher, always speaking softly. Healers also used warmth, placing heated stones on aching muscles, or cool water from streams to reduce pain. Smoke was used to cleanse, touch to comfort, time to restore. Tonight, close your eyes and imagine the scent of wild herbs, lavender, sage, pine. The cool touch of water on your skin. The gentle hands of someone who sees you not as broken, but as whole, simply tired. Let their wisdom surround you like a mist. Let your breath deepen. The world is full of healing, even in silence. Let that silence carry you into peaceful sleep.
Long before alphabets and ink, humans began to shape meaning into stone. Not with words, but with symbols. These early markings, carved with care and patience, were the beginnings of something powerful. Memory made visible. On cave walls, flat rocks, and even bones, people scratched simple shapes, circles, spirals, lines, handprints. Some resembled animals. Others were abstract, like thoughts etched into the earth. We may never know their exact meaning, but they meant something to those who made them. Perhaps they were maps of a journey, or signs of the seasons, or marks left for those who came after. A quiet message that said, "We were here." Some symbols were likely part of rituals. A carved deer to honor the hunt, a handprint to mark a coming of age, a spiral to speak of the stars, or dreams, or something only the heart could understand. These early signs were not loud or elaborate. They were whispers in stone, enduring, still, sacred. To make a mark in that time took effort, a stone tool against hard rock. Every line was deliberate, each carving an offering. In doing so, the people began to shape not just stone, but their place in time. Imagine now, sitting in a quiet cave, your fingers trailing across ancient grooves. The air is cool. The stone beneath your hand feels rough but kind. Someone, thousands of years ago, sat just where you are, leaving a trace behind. Now, as you rest, know that you too are part of this long, quiet story. A story told without shouting, a story made of touch, breath, and stone. You are remembered. Let sleep carry you deeper into that memory. Long before instruments were crafted with precision, before written notes or melodies, there was sound. And in the Stone Age, music was born not in halls or stages, but under trees,
around fires, beneath open skies. It began with rhythm, the steady beat of a stone on hollow wood, the tapping of sticks, the clapping of hands. The heartbeat echoed in sound, and people followed. They listened to the wind moving through tall grass, the soft rustle of animal fur, the gentle drip of water on rock. These were nature's songs, and from them humans began to hum, to whistle, to chant. Early flutes were made from bone, shaped and hollowed with care. When breath passed through them, a soft note emerged, high, distant, like a bird calling through the dusk. Shells were blown like horns, drums were stretched with animal hide. Even the voice itself became a tool of expression. Music in the Stone Age wasn't performance. It was prayer. It was story. It was comfort. Around the fire, people sang of the stars. In the quiet of dawn, they hummed to greet the sun. Children danced to the rhythm of footsteps. Elders sang to the trees. These sounds, though simple, carried deep feeling, joy, grief, hope, rest. They stitched people together across time, like a thread of melody through silence. Tonight, imagine that soft music playing somewhere far away, a single flute in the distance, the echo of hands on hollow wood, a low hum rising like smoke. Let the rhythm slow your heart. Let the melody cradle your thoughts. You are surrounded by a song older than memory. Let it sing you to sleep.
In the vast silence of the Stone Age world, the hunt was not just survival, it was ceremony, courage, and deep understanding of the land. To hunt was to step into the rhythm of the wild, to become part of it, not separate. The hunters rose before dawn. Mist clung to the grasses. Breath steamed in the cold air. They moved quietly, not with haste, but with care, reading tracks, listening to the rustle of wings or the snap of a twig. Every movement of the forest meant something. They knew the habits of deer, the paths of bison, the places where wild boars gathered. They understood patience, the kind that waits for hours without stirring, becoming a shadow among shadows. They didn't hunt for sport. Each life taken was honored. Often they whispered words over the fallen animal, offering thanks. Bones, fur, and sinew were used with respect. Nothing was wasted. The animal became part of the tribe. Its strength carried into tools, clothing, shelter. Hunting was not done alone. It was a dance of trust between people, between breath and signal, silence and motion. Hands pointed without words, eyes shared thoughts. Every step mattered. And sometimes they failed. The herd would vanish, the trail would fade, hunger would return. Still, they learned. Still, they tried again. Now imagine yourself in that quiet morning, feet wrapped in fur, bow in hand, breath slow. Around you, the forest holds its breath. You are not a stranger here. You are part of the stillness. There is no rush, no noise,
only the soft hush of earth beneath your feet. Let that silence hold you. Let it calm your thoughts. Sleep now, as the hunters once did, wrapped in the memory of the forest.
As the sky darkened and stars blinked into view, Stone Age families gathered around flickering fires. The day's labor faded behind them, hunting, foraging, building, walking. And now came the time of warmth, stillness, and story. The fire was more than heat. It was safety, a gentle glow against the shadows, a circle of light where wolves and cold dared not tread. Around it, people sat close, wrapped in furs, leaning into the soft crackle of burning wood. Elders spoke in low voices, telling tales of ancestors, animals, spirits, and the land. Children listened wide-eyed. Their imaginations wandered through forests, over mountains, into the sky. Each story was a thread, weaving the community together. Some tales were lessons, others were comfort. Many were dreams, visions shaped into words, carried on smoke. The storytellers didn't speak quickly. Their words rose and fell like the flames themselves. Time slowed near the fire. Occasionally, someone would sing, a soft hum, or a chant with no name, just sound. The fire seemed to listen. Sparks lifted into the night like tiny spirits, dancing skyward. People leaned against one another. A child resting against a mother. A hunter dozing beside a friend. Eyes blinked slowly. The flames shimmered like dreams being born. Now, close your eyes and picture that circle of firelight. Feel the warmth against your skin, the scent of smoke in the air, the quiet hum of a story that wraps around you like a blanket. You are safe here. You are part of the circle. Let your own story drift gently into sleep. The fire still burns, softly, silently. Long before written words, long before paper and ink, humans spoke with more than voices. In the Stone Age, even smoke had meaning. High on a hill, someone would send a column of smoke into the air, rising, curling, drifting. Another would see it far away, a signal, a message carried not by wind, but by understanding. These smoke signals were not complex sentences, but they didn't need to be. A single puff could mean, "We are here." Two could mean, "Come soon." More could signal danger or a call for help. It was language, primitive and pure. Sometimes fires were set on mountain tops or tall ridges to let others know the hunt was successful, or to warn of storms. These signals traveled faster than footsteps, faster than shouted words could ever carry. People learned to read the wind, the color of smoke, how it moved, thin and pale in dry air, thick and heavy when rain was near. Every curl
held a whisper. Communication was not only sound. It was signs, gestures, patterns in sand, stacked stones, and smoke in the sky. The world itself was a canvas. Even in silence, the people of the Stone Age were speaking. Now, imagine a quiet hilltop at dusk. A small fire burns low. Smoke drifts slowly upward, painting the sky in soft gray lines. You watch it dance. You understand its stillness. No need to rush, no need to speak. Let the smoke rise, soft and slow, like your breath in the night. Let it carry your thoughts far away, into sleep, into peace. You are connected, even across time. In the quiet world of the Stone Age, before the hum of machines and the clatter of cities, progress came softly, chipped from rock, shaped by hand, and guided by patience. Stone tools were the first technology, not loud or complex, but strong and silent. A sharp edge made from flint could cut through hide. A rounded hammerstone could crack bones or crush seeds. These tools, as simple as they were, opened new doors to survival. But they were more than objects. Each one was a lesson passed down. How to choose the right stone, how to strike it just so. Sparks flew, shards broke away, a new edge was born. Some hands grew skilled. The makers sat quietly, their eyes focused, their breathing slow. With each tap and scrape, a new shape emerged, an arrowhead, a scraper, a blade. It was a quiet craft, yet full of meaning, one that turned stone into survival. Children watched, learning without words. They would pick up the tools when old enough, feeling the smoothness of the handles, the cool weight of flint, and in doing so, they stepped into the rhythm of their ancestors. Over time, tools became more refined. Handles were added. Stone met wood. Rope tied them together. The mind and hand worked in harmony. Now, close your eyes and imagine sitting by a gentle stream. A figure beside you works with stone, shaping it slowly. The sound is soft. A tap, a scrape, a breath. The world is still. Let the rhythm of that ancient work soothe your thoughts. You do not need to move fast. You are part of something slow, steady, and kind. Let sleep come like a blade shaped smooth by time.
Long before telescopes or charts, humans looked up. In the quiet of the Stone Age night, the sky was a living story, one told in stars, clouds, and the slow arc of the moon. They didn't know the science. They didn't need to. They knew the feeling, that pull of wonder, of smallness, of belonging. Every night, the sky changed just a little, and the people watched. They saw how the moon grew full, then thin, then vanished. They noticed which stars appeared in summer and which returned in winter. The heavens became a calendar, a guide, a map for the heart. Some stars moved differently, wandering across the sky. These were special, perhaps spirits, perhaps messengers. The people gave them meaning. Shapes appeared: a hunter with a bow, a great beast, a river in the sky. These were not just constellations, they were stories. Night after night, families lay beneath the stars. Parents pointed upward. Children whispered questions. There were no cities, no lights to hide the stars, just the dark, wide sky and the quiet awe it inspired. Even the fire seemed to dim in reverence, crackling low, as if listening to the silence above. Now, picture yourself lying on soft grass. The air is cool. Above you, the stars stretch on forever, unmoving, eternal. Your breath slows. Your mind quiets. You don't need to understand the stars. You only need to feel them watching. Gently, as they always have. Let their ancient light wrap around you like a soft blanket. Sleep beneath their gaze. Dream among their patterns. The sky is vast, and you are safe beneath it. While some hunted, others gathered. Quietly, skillfully, with eyes trained by generations. In the dappled light of ancient forests, life grew in every corner, and the people knew where to look. They walked with gentle steps, listening more than speaking. Beneath leaves and bark, among roots and stones, they found what the land offered. Berries ripened in the sun, nuts fell in autumn, roots pushed deep into the earth, waiting to be unearthed. Mothers showed daughters which plants healed, which fed, and which must never be touched. Fingers moved carefully, separating leaf from leaf, only gathering what was needed. The forest was generous, but only if treated with respect. There were songs for gathering, soft and wordless, humming tunes that passed the time and calmed the heart. Woven baskets held treasures of the wild, mushrooms, seeds, sweet fruits, herbs with quiet power. Sometimes the gathering was a joyful walk. Other times it was slow and deliberate, after rainfall or before the frost. And always it was mindful. Never too much, always with thanks. Evenings ended with the sharing of the harvest. Around the fire, people tasted what the day had brought: a tart berry, a roasted root, a sip of herbal tea warmed in a stone pot. The earth fed them, and they honored it. Now, picture yourself in that soft forest light. Sunlight glows between the trees. In your hand, a simple basket. You walk without hurry. Every step is calm. Every breath is easy. The forest welcomes you. You are not lost. You are home. Let your thoughts settle like leaves on still ground. Sleep as the gatherers once did, full, safe, and gently held by the earth. The rivers of the Stone Age were not just water, they were lifelines. They flowed with meaning, mystery, and music. People built their lives along these quiet currents, listening to the song of moving water. At dawn, the mist would rise gently from the surface. Birds called from the trees. The river flowed steadily, never hurried, never still. Its rhythm echoed the pace of life, slow, present, patient. Children played at the edges, skipping stones and watching the ripples. Adults fished with simple tools, nets made from plant fibers, spears tipped with stone. The river gave food, coolness, and clarity. Water was collected in carved bowls, cupped in hands, or sipped straight from the stream. There were places where the river ran wild and places where it whispered, soft against the banks, lapping gently, as if breathing. People bathed in its flow, not with rush or urgency, but with reverence. It was cleansing in more ways than one, a pause, a return, a moment of stillness. At night, the river became a lullaby. The soft trickle and flow soothed tired minds. The stars reflected on its surface, and the moon lit its path like silver. Fires flickered nearby, but it was the river's voice that carried people into sleep. Now, imagine sitting at the edge of a quiet stream. The water moves slowly. Your feet are bare, your hands resting on cool stones. You hear nothing but the river, steady and kind. Let your breath match its flow. Let your thoughts float downstream, away from the noise of today. Sleep beside the river, as so many did long ago. The water watches over you.
Night has fallen once more. A small fire flickers in the darkness, its flames low, its warmth gentle. Around it, the people of the Stone Age rest. Their work is done. Their voices are quiet. Only the soft crackle of wood breaks the silence. This was the heart of their world, not the fire itself, but the circle it created, a place where stories lived, where eyes met, where silence was safe. The fire gave more than heat. It gave light to keep the night at bay. It cooked food, hardened tools, and warmed the old bones of elders who whispered memories of long ago. Sparks danced upward like tiny stars, vanishing into the black sky. Now only embers remain, soft orange glows pulsing with life, like breath, like memory, like time itself, moving slowly, gently fading. The tribe sleeps nearby, curled in furs, held close, dreaming of hunts, of rivers, of stars. The world is quiet again. And you are there too, not as an outsider, but as one of them. You've walked through forests, climbed stone paths, watched skies shift and seasons turn. You've eaten from the land, sat by the fires, heard the voices of the past. The Stone Age is not so far away. Its silence lives on in you, in the stillness of night, in the rhythm of your breath, in the warmth of your own thoughts. Now the last ember glows. Let its light guide you into rest. Close your eyes. Let go of the day. You are safe. You are home. You are part of something ancient and at peace.